Hello everybody and welcome back to the American Outback. Today what we're going to be doing is certainly some contracting. I haven't really decided which field it's going to be in, but we are going to be looking towards buying another field. Field number 8 is the obvious choice because then we can join the other two together, field number 7 and 8. But of course the price of that field is about $600,000 I think, so something really extreme. Something which we can never afford, at the moment at least, so yeah. What we're going to have to do is wait until that field is harvested, and then we can try and do a different contracting job for that person, and then we can maybe buy it after that. The current job is to harvest, I think it's sugar beet or potatoes, and it's going to take, I think what was it, about 5 hours or something extreme, 5.5 hours I think it was. We're not going to be doing it, it's just going to take too long, so we're going to have to find a different field to work in. We may have to do a bit of fertilizing today as well. But you've probably already noticed, in fact you will have noticed, that we're driving the Big Bud. This is going to be parked in the shed here. We're going to put everything under cover. I'm not really too worried about it being an open-sided shed, just as long as it's actually in here. So it's still actually turning the bend at the back. Don't run over the case, you may squish it like a bug. There is some scale differences here. Yeah, let's just take the case back and go back to the farm. I'll pull it out of the way and we'll jump back into the Big Bud, straighten it up. It doesn't have to be perfect. And we'll leave it there. Fantastic. So yeah, I don't know if we're actually going to be doing any Big Bud work today. I don't know if we will be, since we have actually used the big equipment now. The entire road has one car on it and we met it at the junction. How typical is that? Very typical. So yeah, although this is a big map and there's some really huge fields, there are still some fairly reasonably sized fields, something which wouldn't seem too ridiculous for doing the contracting work in. Now if we weren't doing this as a video, if I was doing this myself, I wouldn't really be too worried about the size of the field, since obviously I don't have anybody to bore with doing a big field. But as I am doing a video, I would prefer to do maybe 1 or 2 small fields and do 1 big field. It's just going to be better, there'll be more diversity. Now it actually turns out that our field there, I think it's ours, it is, field number 2, that is now ripe. So we could harvest it if we wanted to. I don't think we're going to, we have done some harvesting recently, so we'll look towards doing something else. The case tractor can stay just there. And yes, we are going to be buying something like a Case 300 CVX, I should think it'll be. Something along those lines to add to our fleet. All of our machines are now parked up in appropriate places, with the exception of a plough, which is still in field number 7, but that is okay for the time being. So, this is where we get the tricky choice. What shall we do? Field 13 actually looks very interesting, because it's not very wide, it's not a huge field, it's like a slither. Field 12 and 11 together would be quite an immense field, but I don't really want to go with that. Oh, it's sunflowers! And it wants to be fertilised. We won't use that, we'll use something like this, although I will change the tractor, I should think. Well, do you know, I haven't really used this tractor for quite some time. Let's go with it. Oh no, wait, it's the Sammy Fortis, of course. It's the one we've just been using on Sandy Bay. Oh well. It's still a good tractor. Very good for spraying. That's supposed to attach. Lift it up. Maybe we can gain some reputation with this farmer. Hopefully we can do. Oh, look at that, really bad. Okay. Let's get cracking. Now there could be some crop destruction. Hopefully not though. Yeah, this is a nice field. Very nice. The only thing I'm really trying to do here is gain reputation and at the same time get a bit more money. The more money we have, obviously, the better we're going to do. The more fields we'll own. We may have to attach a PTO shaft. I think I have missed that out. I did. Quite a crucial part of this work if we don't have the PTO. It's not really going to go too well. Right, these sunflowers are really tall. The boom is on its highest setting, and even that is only just clearing the top of the sunflower heads. Many people have said use GPS. I will be using GPS on this map. It is going to be perfect for it. This is actually a very good job for it. Let me just see how well it's going to pan out. So that is now on GPS and it's working perfectly. Very good. You can just about see the green marker line in the middle of the crop there. You can just about see it. Very hard to see if you're watching this on a mobile device. There it is. It's easier to see. So yes, it is just going to be a perfect fit actually. We go up one side, go down the other, and be field completed. We won't even have to go all the way, since we get a leeway. So it looks like field 13 is the field we're going to be working on today. If we can get this harvested and possibly even replanted again, this could be one which we could potentially buy. But I'm definitely not going to forget about field number 8, since that is really good with it being next to field number 7. When we join those two together, we can have a really productive harvest. Oh yes, and I also mustn't forget about field number... which one was it? I think it's behind the GPS setting there. Let's turn it into here. Okay, it's getting a little bit crazy since I've got the speed set so high. And yeah, the GPS course could have been a bit better there. There we go. Right, I'll take a look at and see which field it is in a second, but for the time being, let's just finish this off. We're almost there, with still 4 minutes remaining. We're going to do very well out of this. I hope the farmer likes us. This should really boost our reputation. Let's get to the end. I'm not even going to have to get to the end actually. Fantastic. There we go. So we got quite a decent sum of money there. The next job is waiting for us very soon. Obviously the fertilizer has to do its job and they do have to ripen. So really we should go and find a different job to do. And that is somewhere on this map. It is field number 1. I thought it could be. I just didn't want to say anything in case I sound like a fool getting it wrong. So yes, field number 1 does need to be weeded. Now the reason why I think it needs to be weeded is because I don't really want to keep using fertilizer, and weeding is quite a good alternative to this. Why have I just skipped through every option? I don't know. Yeah, so let's just see what I wanted to do. I was trying to get onto here. It is growing. It has progressed faster than I would like it to. So let me just reduce this back down to slow, since it seems to have grown much faster than it should have done. This is field 1. If we were to weed this, we would most likely rip everything out. Although, I do want to do it. It really should be on the first growth stage though. Maybe we're just going to have to say no for the weeding on this field, but certainly in future. We do have to do it in field 7. That is now ready. That is on the first growth stage. So this is going to have to be fertilised. We mustn't forget. Field number 7 does need to be done. To do this, we're going to have to buy the biggest of the weeders, because otherwise it is going to take us absolutely forever. There are 2 different ones here. There is one which is suitable for... well, it basically just weeds, I think. The other one, I believe, does fertilising as well, but I can't say for sure. This, I think, yeah, this is the one we're going to go for. $34,000 one, so it isn't too expensive actually. And I'm hoping we're going to be able to put this onto the case tractor. Although, that is not looking too likely since we can only have standard or wide tyres, so it is going to destroy the crops if I was to do that. So maybe this is going to be our opportunity to now buy a bigger, or maybe even a better tractor. It doesn't want to be too expensive, it doesn't have to be too big either. I was really thinking a case, that was where my thoughts were, but if it's too expensive, we will not be going for a case. The Puma 185, that could be a good option for us. Can we go for narrow tyres? We can indeed. It's not going to look too pretty with them, but practicality overlooks really. That's going to be the key for us. So that is $193,000, just over, leaving not a lot of money for us. I'm sure we can soon regain it though. Here it is, and actually that doesn't look too bad. That is quite a good looking tractor, even with the narrow tyres. So let's get it hitched on. We don't need a PTO for this, so we don't have to worry about that. Lift it up, and let's go and begin work over in field number 7. Where could we be here? Ah yes, we're over at the store. So we've done this trip so many times I can do it off the back of my hand. We did it many times with the big bud. Traffic! Yeah, so over the bridge. And our field is just over to the right hand side there. Here we are. So it's 12 metres working with. That's quite impressive. It's still going to take some time though, since it is such a long field. You can barely see the other side from here. I'm hoping we can do this at quite a rate. It shouldn't be too slow. Right, so we'll set the automatic working width as usual. Always seems to work very well if we do it that way. I think that is set up okay. I'm happy enough with it. Let's go for it. I will check to make sure this is actually working. We should be able to tell anyway by a texture colour change. It's very hard to tell, but yes, it is changing colour. So that's all good. And this is obviously not costing us a thing except for the diesel, our time, and buying the equipment in the first place. But although we had to buy the weeder, we'd have had to buy a fertiliser spreader anyway. So this is just like fertiliser spreading, but cheaper. We don't have to buy any fertiliser. Obviously it can only really be done at this early stage, we can't do it later on. We'd rip the crops up, and it would probably just completely clog it. So 7 miles per hour is our speed for doing this at, which is okay, I can live with it. Now if we do find that the other farmer has got something else for us to do in field number 13, then we'll put this onto a worker and we'll then go and do that. Now I know that some people don't like it when I use a worker, but for this map we really do have to, since there are so many different jobs that have to be done at the same time on such a large scale. I just obviously can't do it myself. We do need to have a workforce. So workers will be used in this Let's Play. They already have been used a fair bit, and they'll be used a fair bit again in the future. It's the game saving. But yes, the GPS is perfect for keeping this stress-free and also for keeping it nice and straight and perfect, and obviously doing a very neat job at the end. So despite me then changing the setting to slow, growth slow, we have in fact just progressed onto the next growth stage, which is okay. It's not too bad. It's not as bad as having a fully grown crop, but it still doesn't look quite so good with a weeder in it, but it will do. That probably means actually that every field is updated, so the sunflowers are probably now ready to harvest in field 13. So finally, we have almost reached the top of the field. I can't believe how long this field is. It makes it feel bigger than it is though, since it isn't very wide. But I think really, a longer field is going to be better than the same size but only shorter. The reason for this is because you don't have to turn around as much. So instead of wasting time turning around, you're still working in the field, which seems to be a much better approach. So if I was to use the GPS on this, I don't know if it's going to accept it. For some reason it seems to be acting like a worker, that's strange. But no, that does seem to be working. It is work. What? It seems to have taken a worker. How very odd. Well, if the worker does want to continue, then let's go back over to field 13 and we will see what is actually happening. Ah yes, they are ready. As you can see, the seeds are ready to fall out of the heads. They have looked, well, they look a lot more withered than they did before. They looked nice and fresh before, but now they're all sad. The axial flow 3412, that reckons that we can do the whole field in less than, well really, it's going to be less than 26 minutes because we don't really need to use all of the time allocated to us. This is a pretty big combine. I don't know if it's the biggest, but it is good. Nice good size. Axial flow. In-cab view may be better for this. We're going to have to unfold it. And we can get some sunflowers harvested. Now since we have fertilised this field for the farmer, we should be able to get quite a lot out of it. Although, just the way it is, we don't actually benefit from the yield. It could be a terrible yield or a very good yield. We would still get paid the same amount of money. We just get paid for our efficiency and basically how good we are. A set rate for doing the job, and then all the extra money for being fast. So we're going to do this as quickly as possible. At least we have a decent combine. I know lots of people wanted me to use the case, so here you go, we're using the case, we just don't own it. It's somebody else's machine. Now in the next video on American Outback, we are going to be doing some animal work. We're not going to be doing a great deal, but we do have to do something, because we do have some. We own animals, but we have neglected them, as usual. So I must do a lot of work with them in the next video. I'm hoping just to do it all within that video. However, there are going to be a few issues, mainly surrounding the feed. Now pigs aren't an issue, since we have pig food pallets, so that's dead easy to do. You just have to be able to afford them. But straw, hay, grass, that kind of thing, we don't actually own. So don't get out. So yes, what I may do, I believe there is a buy bales mod which was always in FS15, and I'm pretty sure very shortly after FS17 was released that mod was transferred. I'm hoping it was done officially by the author. If it was, I'm hopefully going to get it, and we should be able to use that. So we should be able to buy some bales instead of having to just make them our own and make our own all the time, which is better, making our own, but it's a long-winded process and I'm always doing the same thing. In every map I have to make my own bales and we have to keep repeating the same jobs. So I don't really want to do that. I want to just buy some this time. It should be better for us. I wonder if our worker stops when we are doing a job. Since this seems to take it out of game mode sort of thing, the time I actually believe stops in the game. So if it was 11 PM or AM or whatever when we start this, it would still be that time when we finish this. That's from what I can gather anyway. I think that's how it works. So yeah, we may well be still at the same position in the field with the weeder, so it may turn out that we still have to finish it off anyway. That is very strange. I've got a very odd offset here. Can't quite understand what is set wrong. If anybody can notice anything, it would be very useful. You can see the lines are here, but for some reason it wants to keep going off to the left. I can't see the reason behind it. Is it that? What's that? I'm not too sure. I'm not too familiar with some of the controls on GPS. I only tend to use the basic ones, so something's not set right. Well, I'm not too sure what I did, but I have managed to reset it all. It's now working as it should do. So, yeah, weird. I reckon it's something to do with the course set buttons here. We're on the home straight. We are missing a very small stretch, but that won't be required. Luckily we can get away with not doing that. So when we get almost to the bottom, it should accept our job, and we should have quite a good money boost. Can't remember what it was, but it'd be good. What a neat way of finishing it off. One row each side. Yes, that was unplanned. GPS decided to take that route. What a funny route. Still, there we go. We are done here. How much money can we make? Let's see. Wow, that is good. So that is just over, well, quite a lot of over 14,000. Not bad at all. Right. Let me just teleport over to the case, and oh, it is still going. In fact, it's about halfway, so it's done a pretty good job. Yes, I'm pleased that it has continued and not just stopped, since that would have been fairly pointless and very counterproductive. So that's good. Meanwhile then, as it seems to be happily going, we'll drop that off. We'll start up this big bud, the smaller of the two, hard to believe, but it is, and we'll go and pick up the plough. The plough needs to be brought back. I do think this yard up here is a very good place to store all of our large equipment. It keeps it out of the way. The other farm is going to be for storing straw bales, hay bales, grass, tractors, that kind of thing. Of course these are tractors, but they are on a different scale completely. So I think really just putting them in a shed like that, oh, must have missed the turning, out of the way is going to be the best option for us. I love how the train line is just so open. You can just drive onto there if you wanted to. There's no barriers or anything. Amazing. It's totally different to the UK. There is one thing which I could try. I don't know if the tractor is going to be capable of doing it since it requires the larger tractor, but there is the strip between field 7 and 8, which is going to have to be ploughed at some point. Now we may get the error saying you do not own this field, just because we are very close to the field boundaries of field number 8. But also at the same time there could be the possibility, which means that there is no field boundary within that stretch, so maybe we can do it all. We may be able to plough the entire bit. With this being such a big plough, it's highly likely that in just one pass we'll be able to cover the entire area, because it isn't a huge sort of barrier between the two. Not a huge division. But no, we could very easily get this error message. We're just going to have to find out. Oh yeah, and also I did ask a few people about the indicator only being on the front, and a lot of people responded to me. The general reply seemed to be the reason why I don't have it on the back is because you can't really see it anyway. You tend to have very large pieces of equipment on, and you won't be able to see it, so it's pointless even being there. So if that is true, that is quite an interesting reason behind it. So here it is. Let me just position it correctly. Should be good enough. Perfect. Oh yeah, it's not very wide at all. In fact, we are at risk of digging into our own field there. My guess is we're going to instantly get this error message saying you do not own this field. Especially as half of the plough is actually going to be going into next door's field. Oh, that is looking promising. However, dare I do this without a GPS? I don't think so. That is the working width. When it levels off, it's going to be right over there. So, I need to be very careful here. Yeah, I'm not going to use GPS. I'm just going to use it as like a guideline so I can actually see the markings. It's even ploughing next door's field. Oh, they are not going to be too happy. They are not going to happen one bit. That is crazy. And I'm missing bits. Don't you hate it when you get that ignorant neighbour who always goes and ploughs half your field up? No? Well, it's probably never happened in real life. But we are that person. We're making sure we don't dig too far into our own field, but we are taking a section of whatever these are. Potatoes by the look of it. I'm very sorry, neighbouring farmer. But to make it up to you, we will buy your field. How does that sound? At a reduced rate, of course. You know what, I think that is the best thing to do. Plough this centre bit. And what we've actually done here, even without buying field number 8, is we've actually extended the field boundary of ours. We've done very well. I just can't believe there isn't an error message. Maybe they don't have it on this map. Meaning we could just go and plough their entire field. I'm not really too sure why I was too concerned about this tractor not being able to pull the plough. It's not struggling at all. It's doing a very good job. Amazing. Where is our other tractor? There it is. Still going strong. So we are almost at the end of the field, and this is actually going to conclude today's video. I don't think there's really anything else I can do, since, well, the work which we really have to do is to the animals, and I'm not really prepared to be doing that the right way, so we need to do that in the next video. And yeah, we're going to do so much contracting work. I think we've done a good amount today. We have actually brought some money back into our bank balance as well, so that's good. Anyway, it doesn't have to be super neat at the end. Annoyingly, just because of the shape of the plough, it's never going to look too good there. Let me just try and neaten it up. I'm sorry, neighbouring farmer. I'm even further into your crop. I'm sure it will reset anyway. Well, there we have it. That's all good. Let's take the plough back. Need to fold it up. And we're actually right next to the yard, so we don't have too far to go. Turn GPS off. Been very useful as usual. Believe it or not, I never actually used GPS in Farming Simulator 15. Ever. I don't think I ever used it at all. Hard to believe. Can't really do without it now. So, there should be space, if we haven't gone too far over to the left, just to the left hand side of this big bud. We can part the two together. And that's when you really do see a scale difference. It's surprising. When you drive them, they both feel very similar, but not when they're together. That is really good. Really amazing difference. Anyway, that's going to be it for today. Hopefully it's going to be on its way back up again. I'm sure it'll be finished very soon. And yeah, that will be done. That will be weeded. So until next time, thank you for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you again very soon in the next one. Until then though, bye for now.